Hello and welcome to Health Professional Radio. I'm your host, Neil Howard. Thank you so much for joining us again. Going to be speaking with Veronica Villanueva this evening. She's a certified health coach, a Cordon Bleu trained chef, and the author of the book, The Grace of Cancer, Lessons in Humility and Greatness. She's joining us to share her personal journey battling cancer and to also talk about some experimental therapy. Welcome to Health Professional Radio, Veronica.
Thank you so much, Neil, for having me on your radio, and I am looking forward to speaking to you about the different things that I tried to be alive today, I guess, despite what the doctors have told me 4 years ago.
Well, give our listeners a bit of your background. Tell us who you are, and then let's talk about your diagnosis.
Yes. 4 years, a little over 4 years ago, I was diagnosed with stage 4 incurable metastatic lung cancer. I rushed to the hospital at 4 a.m. I couldn't breathe and did a biopsy on me. It was pretty clear by these doctors that had examined me and given me all these tests that I had cancer. And so I had 1.6 liter of fluid in my right lung. Just to give you what that looks like, basically I had fluids up to my collarbone on the right side of my chest, which is quite a bit. And they had to drain that. And obviously that was all cancer fluids. And they gave me less than 6 months to live. They gave me the diagnosis and they also gave me a prognosis. And within 48 hours, I basically lost all my muscles, dropped to 89 pounds. And the doctors told me that I may not die from cancer, but just from losing weight because cancer started eating all my muscles away. And mind you, I was an athlete playing tennis, so I was pretty fit, very healthy, so I thought. So this was a big, lesson in humility for me to see my body just, you have absolutely no control what happens to your body when you have a disease like cancer that just invades your body.
You say you were athletic. You weren't a professional athlete, right?
No.
Okay. What were you doing? What was your life? What was happening? And what were the symptoms thinking back before that night when you were rushed to the ER?
Well, when I say I was healthy, I mean, it's not the health that I'm talking about now and the way I live. I guess I can say, my eating habits were great because I was a chef and I always cooked. And so I don't believe it came from my food necessarily, but from my external environment. And also I was going through a very bad divorce, the stress, the betrayal. And I really believe that your body keeps track of all the times that you've neglected it and that you didn't listen to it. And then something triggers it. In this case, I think my divorce, and my whole immune system just collapsed. Mm-hmm. And that, is something that needs to be, I guess, brought to awareness for a lot of us because, we think we're all invincible. And I really believed I was, and I thought I was doing the right thing for my body. Like I said, I wasn't drinking. I wasn't a drinker. I didn't drink alcohol. I worked out a lot. Therefore, I had a lot of inflammation in my body. But I think for me, it was more my unhappiness for so many years, for over a decade, where I stayed in a marriage that I probably should have left earlier, sooner. That betrayal and not honoring myself, I believe, is how I got sick.
I am so glad that you mentioned that because there is more and more research being done into the impact of stress on the immune system, especially now with COVID-19 and other diseases that are still, they haven't gone anywhere. But now COVID-19 has added a bit of a twist to research and looking into how can we bolster our immune systems. And stress is a major player in the strength or lack thereof of the immune system. I'm glad you mentioned that.
Absolutely. And I always say you're as good as your immune system, right? Because these are your fighting soldiers to fight any infection, any viral or bacterial infection. So, the school of thought around cancer used to be focused only on genetic components. But we now know that our environment plays a huge part in that. And I really believe that the more I do research, the air we breathe, the food we eat, even our own relationships have enormous cellular impact on our ability to prevent and heal from any disease, specifically cancer. And it just gives gives me, such hope, tremendous hope, because think about this, Neil, if our environment can make us sick, then it also means our environment, when we change it, can heal and set us to thrive in our lives again, right? Yeah. So, and that's what I did. I had an aha moment where I felt, okay, I know what happened. I know how I did this to my body. Good news, because I felt empowered at that moment, because I did it myself, right? So you take responsibility for what you didn't do or what you did to your body. And then, to reverse that, you do the opposite. Yeah. You honor yourself. In my case, I honor myself. I do things that make me happy. I no longer do things because I have to. It's really about that self-love.
Other than self-love and honoring yourself, you've obviously beaten cancer at least once. Would you consider yourself in remission, or are you on a daily regimen of some type to continue to deal with cancer?
Yes. There's so many things that I do, but one thing I have to say, because, I was diagnosed September 2016, and then by June of 2017, I had my first clean scan. Since I was diagnosed in 2016, I was getting quarterly scans, and every single time I had a scan, my scan came back either the tumor had disappeared or the size had reduced to almost nothing. And then in June of 2017, which is 9 months later, I received my first scan. Because of the metastatic lung cancer and the fact that it's incurable and it's stage 4, I can't even say it is incurable, so therefore I can't say remission. Mm-hmm. I can say NED, which is no evidence of disease in my body. Mm-hmm. That's the extent of how, I can classify myself. But to me, honestly, labeling, one of the things I learned, I don't care about labeling. I'm alive, I'm thriving, I'm happy. And even today, July of this year, I was a second diagnosed of a half-inch tumor on my chest. I never acted sick then, and I'm not about to start now. So what did I do? Like I said, a lot of things, but the more important question is, what did I not continue to do after my clean scan? And to me, I stopped cannabis, because cannabis played a huge part. Now I know for sure that cannabis played a huge part in my healing journey, because it is the one thing I did stop. And I wish back now, and I know now for the future, that I will have to design a maintenance protocol for myself using cannabis for the rest of my life, because there's such a significant and growing amount of scientific research and data and testimonials, including mine, suggesting that CBD and THC can cause cancer cells to really commit suicide,
Really?
It's called apoptosis, where basically it kills itself. It inhibits tumor growth, it inhibits metastasis and cancer migration to other parts of, your body, and so I started researching that when someone had brought it up to my attention. I've never used cannabis before, but, a cancer diagnosis brings you to your knees. It's the scariest thing that you will ever hear in your life, right? So when somebody tells you that there's a chance that you can heal yourself using cannabis, why wouldn't you want to try it? If you really want to live, and I really wanted to live, I wasn't going to stop at anything.
Were you smoking it, vaping it? Were you doing edibles?
No.
Was it just cannabis, or was it CBD, combination of THC?
Yeah. So hemp versus marijuana, right? So hemp, you don't get, the big difference between hemp and cannabis and marijuana is hemp, you basically do not get stoned, and marijuana you do. Okay, so cannabis, CBD has 0.3 of THC, which is really nothing. You can't get stoned from that. And then beyond that, then it would be considered marijuana cannabis. So there are different ways to deliver this into your body. And there's so many different types of cannabinoids, right? So one of the ways is, obviously, because I had lung cancer, I didn't smoke. right? And then I would never have smoked, and I wouldn't recommend that. So it's tinctures. So it's, topicals. In my case, the biggest thing that I did was create my own suppositories, which is, Neil, a game changer. Mm-hmm. Because in order to use cannabis to heal you, you have to use so much of it, the quantity. I was using close to 3 grams a day. There is no way you can work to build up that tolerance using, ingesting it orally, because you would just get completely stoned. And I did. The first week I did this, where I was orally ingesting cannabis into my body. I couldn't even hold my head up high to eat. So, I wasn't living. I was sleeping 20 hours a day. Wow. Until one day, I thought, well, gosh, this is not living. So one day I woke up and I realized I had this idea of suppositories. So being that I'm a Cordon Bleu chef and a nutritionist, I went to my kitchen and created my own suppositories using cannabis, and I included everything. Also, all the food I ate, soup, fruit, anything, I put cannabis, and I was less stoned significantly, because when you use suppositories, you bypass your stomach. Mm-hmm. So therefore, you're not as stoned. And I was able to function in the world. I had a business then, and that, like I said, was a game changer, because, I wasn't stoned all the time. And then so at night, I would actually use topical as well as ingest some, because I wanted to be a little bit stoned, because it helped me. The beauty about cannabis is it really, especially for people who have cancer, it helps with anxiety, it helps with sleep, it helps with people who are using chemo and radiation for their appetite, for their nausea, and all of that, when you have cancer, is something that prevents you from healing. Because if you're anxious and you're worried and you're not sleeping, and as you know, sleeping is when you heal the most. We've heard many. Remember the time when we always heard was, oh, you don't need as much sleep. If you sleep, you lose out on things. What is that expression? You sleep, you snooze, or something like this.
Snooze, you lose.
Well, now, exactly. Well, now you want to heal. You want to, add years to your life. Sleep. Get plenty of sleep. And it's the same when you're sick. You definitely need to sleep in order to heal.
Veronica, let's talk about your book, The Grace of Cancer, Lessons in Humility and Greatness. It starts out with a letter to your readers.
Yes, it does. I wrote this book because at the time I was diagnosed with cancer, I really looked for a book that would inspire me and give me hope. And there wasn't really any out there. And, after I healed myself, I realized that, when you heal yourself of something as horrific as cancer, it becomes a responsibility to, share your story and heal other people. So that's why I wrote the book. And the way I wrote the book is hoping that it would not only give hope to people, but inspire. Every page you turn, I hope, at least my hidden agenda was to empower you more than the last page that you read. So by the time you finish reading my book, you have the strength to take actions in your healing journey. And when I wrote to my readers, and I intentionally wrote a letter to them, because I want them to know that, I get them. I am them. I was them. And I want everyone to believe that cancer does not need to be a death sentence. It really doesn't, because it's become a modern disease. And it's all induced by our lifestyle, the way we live, like I said. And very, very few cases are now genetic. So that letter is to, hopefully, it's my only way to speak to my reader, aside from, you reading beyond that and reading the chapters, is to give them the hope that they're looking for, and to also empower them that they can actually take part in their own healing journey, and not to just allow someone like doctors to tell them what to do, and to be proactive. Because I think there are so many things that you can learn and lessons that will benefit you. And, you come out of the tunnel after you've healed yourself, not only as a better person and a healed person, but the life that you really, really have intentionally and deliberately designed for yourself.
Well, we would love to learn some more about you. Where can we go online and get some more about Veronica Villanueva?
Well, you can check me out at alivewealththrive.com. And there's also I also coach, so I'm also at veronicavillanueva.com. And, both sites are there to not only inspire, but to also educate and motivate people, not only of people with cancer, but also people to learn how to thrive in life and to feel alive, because that is one of the lessons I've learned is, cancer. That's why I called my book The Grace of Cancer, because it has given me so many lessons in life that really paved the way to what an incredible life I live right now, where I feel so free and so inspired to help other people. And I really believe that I was meant to live this story so that I can, like I said, turn around and help other people.
Well, I appreciate you joining us here. It's been an absolute pleasure speaking with you this evening, Veronica, and I'm looking forward to our next conversation.
Thank you so much, Neil, and good luck to you, and stay healthy and do everything you can to boost your immune system, please. You've been listening to Health Professional Radio. I'm your host, Neil Howard, in conversation with Veronica Villanueva. Join our podcast on iTunes, listen in, download on SoundCloud, and be sure and subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com, Health Professional Radio.